We're living through an AI explosion, but I'm seeing a dangerous trend. Most businesses are doing it backwards. They're buying the tools and then trying to find a problem to solve. I call it duct tape adoption, trying to stick AI onto a broken process and hoping it creates magic. I've seen dozens of these so-called readiness assessments, the kind that feel like a personality quiz or a wacky marketing gimmick. They're flash over substance. If your assessment is based on a gut feel instead of structured criteria, you aren't leading your client to success, you're leading them into faster dysfunction. Real AI adoption isn't about the tools, it's about strategy before tools and leadership before automation. To get it right, you need a baseline across 5 critical pillars: strategy, data, process, skills, and governance. Now, professional consultants don't use 10-day spreadsheets. They use a systemized methodology. You want to start by defining the level you're going to start at. Is it the company, a department, or a specific role? Then you run a structured diagnostic that identifies the gaps before you spend a single dollar on implementation or even a pilot. Now, to show you what this looks like in action, I've asked my business partner and lead developer, Michael Grillo, to walk you through the systemized layer we use to deliver this strategy at scale via one-click AI. So, Mike, we created one-click AI after watching other consultants trying to figure out how to do AI readiness assessments. They were using spreadsheets and all kinds of different things and duct taping things together. And so we created this platform to help consultants do their job better. Why don't you walk people through it?
Sure. And we created this system not only to let consultants customize their questions and the criteria that they grade these on, but we also wanted to give them a starting point too. So you could log in and run your first assessment today with the information that we've input. So let me give you a quick overview of how those assessments are done, how they're graded, and what the final results are like. So we have 4 different levels of assessment, from the company level to departments to teams, all the way down to the individual. So each of these has its own track of roughly 40 or 50 questions. You can preview those by hitting the buttons under each level. And same thing for the scoring criteria too. So after someone answers all the questions, those answers are graded against several areas. We define around 11 or 12 that you could use right now. And when the final report is compiled, it will give you an overall score. It'll give you scores from 1 to 5 for each criteria area. It will offer suggestions and potential tools for people to better adopt AI and automation tools. So our goal for this was to take a process that normally would take you several days, maybe even weeks to do, and condense it down to minutes. So let's get started. First, before we go into actually taking an assessment, you may ask, oh, I see your default questions, I see your default criteria, but can we change that? The answer is yes, you can. So if we go to question sets, my question sets, you can toggle through each level of assessment, and you can see I already have some sets defined here. So we give you 3 ways to create a question set. You can start one from blank, so you could type in your own questions. You can clone a set from our existing base. So if you choose this option, you'll see all of ours. In fact, I'll just do that right now. We'll make a test, create a set, and here you go. You can work from our existing questions in here. And then the third way is to import from a CSV file. So if you open up Excel or your preferred spreadsheet tool, as long as you have columns with headers of question, category, and weight, it's as simple as uploading a file. Simply upload your file, give it a name, and create. And there you have it. Once you're editing an individual question set, you can click and drag to reorder your questions, change text, change the category. Categories are just a loose way of organizing related questions. Again, this is all entirely up to you what you enter in here. You have total control. The weight, for questions and for criteria later on just means roughly how important is this in the grading of the final assessment. So you could play with that and, experiment and see what kind of results you get when you generate. You can make questions active or inactive by checking the box. You can simply remove questions by Xing them out and then save when you're ready. You can also use the default option to set defaults for each level across your use of the app. Same thing for my criteria sets. These are the criteria that are used to grade the assessment. These are what the questions are weighed against in order to determine a person or an organization's AI readiness. Again, you can create your own blank set, starting from nothing. You can clone from our existing set, or you can import from the CSV. Same type of functionality as the questions. So let's go back to the main screen. As you can see here on the screen, you'll see your recent assessments here in various states. You can see I have some drafts, which can easily be resumed. You can do your finished assessments here as well. We'll take a look at one of those in a bit. And when you send these out for other people to complete, more on that in a second, when those come back to you, you'll get an email alert and you'll see a pending status here in your list. So trying to make this as user-friendly as possible. So we'll create a new assessment on the individual level. When you click one of those buttons to get started, you'll have the option to choose one of your custom question sets. Let me choose a level where we have one set up. So you see I have one here. We could use that. Or if you do nothing, you could just use the system questions that we already programmed. So we'll start an individual assessment. Here we're on the assessment screen. Now you can rename the assessment up here if you'd like. Probably a good idea. It'll help you keep organized as you generate more and more of these. As you go through the process, you'll see that your results are being saved automatically. So you can hit the button to save manually here. You could trash your draft if you don't need it anymore. But know that even if your internet goes out, your results will be stashed locally in your browser's local storage. So you'll just have to refresh the page and you won't lose any data. It'll all show up there. And before we start taking an assessment itself, you'll notice this share assessment button on the top. If you click that, enter somebody's email address and click the blue button, this sends a unique link to a recipient where this person can take an assessment. They don't have to be a registered user for One Click AI. They could just do this on their own time without having to be a registered user. So if you can imagine you have multiple assessments you want to do for one of your clients, you could have 10 or 20 or 30 of these out at one time and just wait for the results to come back in. And when those recipients are taking the assessment, they're going to see this exact screen here, minus the app navigation on the left side, but they'll have all the features, all the draft saving, auto saving, and all the voice capabilities we're going to talk about too. So, for the sake of accessibility and convenience, and to make everybody's life easier, we added some voice-powered features to this, from reading a question to answering a question. I am the lead developer of the One Click AI app. I also am vice president of marketing for My Mobile Life. And when you have your answer, you can go to the next question. I'm very familiar with these concepts, and I have taken many courses, and I receive daily email newsletters on AI and automation topics. And it's as simple as that. You just go question by question. You can go back to previous questions and change your answers. And then at the end, you'll see a button to finish. And when you hit that, that will start compiling the report. Now let's take a look at what a finished report looks like. We go to view assessment, and here's the final product. So as we mentioned, it starts with an executive summary on top with an overall score from 1 to 5. Basically, 1 means, or even 0 means this person, company isn't using AI or hasn't even bothered to look. 5 means perfect adoption, essentially. So you'll, depending on the level of advancement of whoever you're assessing, you'll see scores that reflect that. And as you go down the report, you'll see these are the different criteria that we had before. So customer and market innovation gives a reminder of what that was. It gives a summary based on the answers in the assessment, gives you next steps, and gives you recommended applications. Same thing for each criteria going down the list and down the list and so on. And then at the bottom, you can get a recap of the questions and the answers that were provided. Now, back at the top of the page, if you'd like to share this with someone outside of the one-click system, simply click Enable Public Link. That will copy a link, and you can share that however you'd like to share it, whether it's in an email or a text, whatever's easiest for you. If you want to print or save a PDF, you have an option for that. If you want to edit the title, you could do that as well. And say you needed to change an answer for whatever reason. Someone realized they answered a question incorrectly, or they had more context they'd like to share. You can edit any answer in the assessment and then click Save and Rerun, and that will recompile the report. Another side benefit to this is as we update the platform, we'll be powering these assessments off of what we think are the latest and greatest large language models, which naturally means you're going to get better assessments and better results as the months and years go on. So I would encourage you to go back and rerun previous assessments that you did. Simply go to Edit Answers and click Save and Rerun. And I would venture to say you'll get different and probably better insights. So, like the large language models themselves, we know that OC is going to get better and better as time goes on. So that is our AI future ready voice powered assessment platform. We hope you try it out. We hope you push it to its limits. We hope you like it. And we certainly want to hear what you think about it. So
Yes.
back to you, Rick.
Yeah, yes, indeed, Mike. In fact, he said it correctly. Just scratched the surface. As you see, there are a bunch of things on the left-hand side we didn't even get into. That'll be in another video. Thanks, Mike.